Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the inaugural episode of the 2013 IU softball season. Inside IU softball, I'm Jimmy Cavanaugh, joined by Michelle Gardner, head coach Michelle Gardner, to be sure. Coach, glad to have you with us. How you doing?
Thank you. Wonderful.
It's exciting to get a new season underway, I'm sure. And I'm a new face. You're a new face to me, so we'll be seeing a lot of each other as the season progresses. Right now, though, obviously season not yet here, mid-February, beginning of early February, when we'll start to have the season go around. What are we looking at right now in terms of this team's preparation? Obviously, 30 wins in back-to-back seasons, a lot of success recently. Just speak to the way that you've gotten your team prepared the past couple of years and what you're going to look to see from them to start off this next season.
Well, I think, obviously this week we started individuals. We start full team practice on Monday. And building on past experiences, we've had a little bit of success over the last 2 years. And, I'm going into my 5th season right now. And when I came into the program, knew that, we had some work to get done to kind of turn things around. And obviously, I think we've prepared and been doing, everything we needed to do for this program to grow. And now it's just a matter of continuing to put the pieces in place, and hopefully our success will continue to grow. So at this point, it's just getting them back and getting ready to go.
It seems like at this point you've got a good young core of players who are prepared to do that. I mean, the past couple of years, obviously, 30 wins each year. There are a lot of returning players. Just speak to that experience, what that brings to the table for a team that's looking to have a successful season this year.
Well, I think we definitely can see that our infield is going to be a little bit on the older side. I've always, we've always said how young they were, and now I've got a core of seniors and that have substantially added to the program year after year. So, when you're a senior, it's kind of like your last hurrah, and I think they all understand where I want the program to go. They know what's expected. They know how to help their, the freshmen and newcomers, how to transition into what it is we expect here at Indiana. So I think that being said, that's a huge part of what I'm expecting from them this season, is to lead the younger athletes, because we have some very good athletes. Now it's just a matter of them getting together and kind of putting everything together.
And we'll get back to that leadership, especially with those newcomers in just a bit. But a big part of those returning players is the offense that they bring back. Last season, an outstanding offensive year for this team. A lot of those players coming back, obviously losing Cassie Gogrieve, but still bringing back Shannon Colley and Amanda Wagner, both first and second team All Big Ten, respectively. Can you just talk about what their return does, as well as some of the other players? There are a lot of good offensive players coming back.
Yes, I mean, adding on to that returning list is Jenna Abraham, obviously is a junior this year. Shelby Gogrieve, who actually had to step in last year and play shortstop when Bree Saucedo went down. And, Bree was just coming on and starting to have a really good year and got hurt our opening Big Ten series, and was done for the rest of Big Tens. But so we've got her returning and healthy. Kelsey Brandon's back and healthy. So we really have a good core group of upperclassmen who have put up some very good numbers. And, obviously Amanda Wagner the last 2 years has put up phenomenal numbers. And Shannon Colley being first team All Big Ten last year as a freshman was, quite a feat by itself. And I expect her to continue to keep things rolling. So I think there are some really good offensive numbers that are going to come out of that group. And then, we've added some pretty talented young players. So it really just is a matter of, are they going to get there right now? Because, sometimes freshmen take a little while to develop, but they're getting thrown to the wolves right off the bat.
And it'll be fun to watch that progress as it goes along. If you get to the pitching as well, because you have both Megan Murphy and Laura Olson, who saw the lion's share of pitching last year. Miranda Tamayo threw 3 innings, so that was something that also you have in the pen, someone who's able to come in and pitch. But you've also got a newcomer coming in, Brooke Betcher, who was quite the high school softball player. Don't know quite what to expect from her, but she's going to be interesting to watch coming in. Kelsey Dodson and Cassie Farmer as well, newcomers. Just what can you talk about with them all coming in to this IU softball team for the 2013 season?
Well, I think what you're going to see from Brooke is Brooke's a very strong power pitcher. And I always go back to sometimes freshmen are freshmen. I think Brooke has grown by leaps and bounds from when she first got here. And while I know she had an amazing high school career, this is a little bit different game. And, Brooke came in here with a lot of power. And so now we're teaching her how to move the ball a little bit more. And quite frankly, I think Brooke's going to do a very good job for us. And I think as a whole, we're going to have a pretty solid pitching staff all the way around. Because you're right, Laura Olson, Megan Murphy saw a lot of time last year. And, Laura being a freshman last year, Megan being a sophomore, but she didn't really throw much the year before that. So I think we've just got a good core group. And Miranda's worked very hard this fall, and she's in the mix too. So I kind of think it's going to be who's getting it done today, and maybe a little bit by committee. I don't know.
Coach, I'm glad you talked about the fall work, because that's a big part of any season is what you do in the off season prior. Mm-hmm. What have you seen from these ladies as far as off season work has been, especially in the fall? The way they were able to go in, because that's really a lot of the stuff you see before we get into where we are now.
Well, I think, first of all, we had a big young group come in, and besides Dotson and Farmer, we have Natalie Lalich, we have Lexi Reese. All people who can see time. Caitlin Cavanaugh, Michelle Huber. All very, very good players that we walk in and now... it's a little bit different than high school, so they have to learn our system. So my upperclassmen kind of helped them along. Obviously, our strength and conditioning coach, Chris Virtue, had to do a lot of work to kind of mold them into the direction that we needed them to go. And so I think, that being said, we also had a transfer in Liz Prince, who's on our team now. And, so we've had some things happen that we need that young group to understand where we're going and how we get there. So working out is completely different than what it had been. So, it's kind of that transition phase in the fall. Well, now, on top of that, we're in this phase of our upperclassmen, our young kids, and trying to get everybody to work together. We played a few games kind of to see where we were. And, I just think that we have a lot of pieces to our puzzle that we haven't necessarily had in the past. And so there's a lot of pieces, and people can step into places when need be. We lost Sam Brinter. She graduated last year, so we need a second baseman. Shelby kind of transitioned over there with Bree being back, and Lexi Reese has spent some time there, and she's done a good job. Liz has spent some time there. Bri Meyer is at first base. She's a returning kid that is really, I think, going to help us quite a bit. So we've kind of got all these little things going. Sam Heyman is, returning senior center fielder who, in my opinion, is one of the best outfielders in the conference. And, we had turned her around right-handed last season. We moved her back a little bit left side this season, and hopefully her numbers go up, because we kind of need to see that.
We mentioned Cassie Gogrieve a little bit earlier. She was a very solid catcher for you last season. She's moved on to your coaching staff, leaving a pretty big hole behind the plate. What do you see on the roster that can do a pretty decent job replacing her? What are you looking for?
Well, I can tell you that Cassie has been invaluable the last 3 years. Cassie has, she was not only a great catcher, great receiver, team leader. I attribute a lot of success that we've had to her, because she's been able to work with pitchers and do those kinds of things. We have returning Jenna Mulmain, who saw a little bit of time back there last year, and was a transfer in. So, I could see her being back there some. We brought in 2 freshman catchers, Cassie Farmer and Kelsey Dotson, both who are very, very good catchers, and any one of them could see time back there. It's kind of going to be who's giving me what I need and who can handle the pitchers. Because, this is that's a unit right there. Pitching and catching is a unit. And we just need to make sure that, 1, we're getting the job done back there, and 2, offensively, we're putting up some numbers, because I think that's going to be a big factor for us as well. Is Cassie Gogrieve had done some really good things for us offensively, so it's kind of going to be what's going to best fit us at this time.
You struck on a point there a while ago that I would like to go back to. Just having so many experienced players coming in and building a culture on this team. The preparation you talk about in the fall, is that something different that you see as a result of those players having been through this a couple times and knowing what to expect?
Oh, absolutely. Because I think that's where the point where when I first took over the program, it was how do we develop a culture here? Because I didn't feel like it was where it needed to be. And so each year we've brought in, 4 or 5 players that really, I think, buy in and understand what it is I'm looking for. And then you start to see some success with that. And so it's easy when your upperclassmen have won and experienced winning to kind of want to pull everybody with them because they know it's going to take everyone to win. And as freshmen, you don't know what it's going to take. You're not sure where you are. And so I think that's what's happening now is because we've seen some success, my upperclassmen want more. And they're really making sure that the underclassmen are on board and bought in and moving in the direction we need to move.
When everyone's together, that always ends up being something that is a little more fun to watch as the season gets along.
Absolutely.
To that point, is this something where the team is maybe a little stir-crazy at this point? It's early January. They really probably want to get out there and start playing some games soon, but it's still a little off in the future. How ready do you think this team is to get the season underway?
Well, I can tell you that I'm ready and my staff's ready, and it's a matter of sometimes you have to be a little patient right now. It's a tough time to be patient because we just want to go play. And we have, 4 weeks and we're playing a game. But it's the preparation between the fall and then the off season, which is our strength and conditioning, to, what did they do over break. And a good core of my kids, I promise you, worked out over break. They look fit. They're ready to go. And so now it's just a matter of getting out, team practice. Let's see where we are. Let's see what we really need to work on and what can we transition from the fall till now. And then it's just go time. Then we're thrown out there and, we open up at ASU and it's a big weekend.
You're excited, Coach. Your staff is excited. I'm excited too, folks. Looking forward to it. It's going to be big, like you said, opening up at ASU. Early February, so little time still. But fear not, we will be back before then. We'll preview the season. We'll look at some other stuff too. And who knows? There's a whole season of excitement laying ahead of us. Sounds good. I like how that sounds. Coach Gardner, anything else you want to add before we take this off? All right, cool. Sounds like we're good. For Coach Michelle Gardner, I'm Jimmy Cavanaugh saying good night. Travel well, folks. Thanks for watching. This has been Inside IU Softball on IUHoosiers.com.